Modern men are no longer confused, and they're no longer scared. They're simply not playing the game anymore. Modern men are done performing for disinterest. Today, when a woman tells him no, a man who respects himself says, okay, and he leaves her alone. You see, gentlemen, 8s, 9s, and 10s, they come with a lot of baggage. They get attention from men everywhere they go. Their egos are reinforced daily. They constantly test your boundaries. It just never ends. Women fall in love with their college professors and not their classmates. Why? Because they're drawn to authority, not equality. They want guidance, not the partnership they're always squawking about on TikTok. Because the man who leads her mind automatically leads her. If you're in your 30s, you need to stop letting these bitches treat you like an option, my guy. Because in your 30s, you have what matters, which is experience, standards, and leverage. You're not guessing like you were in your 20s. You've got a mission, a schedule, and a direction. And any woman who disrupts that is not a blessing. She's a bill. Here's what being treated like an option looks like. Inconsistent replies, last-minute plans, mixed signals, maybe energy, and attention when she's bored. Sound familiar, guys? That ain't romance. That's disrespect. High-caliber men don't beg, they don't chase clarity, and they damn sure don't negotiate effort. Instead, they observe and decide. If she wants you, she shows it. If she respects you, she's consistent. And if she values you, she protects your relationship. It's that simple. Because the very moment you tolerate being an option is the minute you train her to keep you as one. Because standards are taught by consequences. Let me repeat that. Standards are taught by discipline. Your 30s are not for settling, gentlemen. They're for selecting. Young men chase while high caliber men choose. You're in your prime, guys. Act like it. Match energy, protect your peace, walk away from disrespect, and never be an option. You can learn more about how not to be an option by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. It looks like these Gen Z boys have it figured out. The age of chasing is over, guys. Modern men are no longer confused, and they're no longer scared. They're simply not playing the game anymore. Modern men are done performing for disinterest. Today, when a woman tells him no, a man who respects himself says, okay, and he leaves her alone. No arguing, no convincing, no follow-ups, no orbiting, no friendship code. But here's the issue women didn't anticipate. Those men, they never come back. They don't linger, they don't check in, they don't wait for a mood change. They simply move on as though nothing happened. Because modern men have finally asked the obvious question about dating here in 2026. And that question is, why chase someone who is running away? Chasing assumes resistance. Resistance assumes lack of desire, and lack of desire is a dead end. Attraction that needs persuasion was never attraction to begin with. Over the past few years, men have realized something very critical. If she really wants you, she makes it easy. If she doesn't want you, no amount of effort will magically convert indifference into desire. So men have stopped chasing, not out of bitterness, but out of efficiency. Men have stopped proving. They've stopped auditioning. They've stopped trying to earn interest. These guys now operate on one simple rule: interest first, investment second. Anything else is just bad math as far as they're concerned. And this is why women are shocked, bitter, and pissed. Not because men disappeared, but because men learned to walk away quietly. No drama, no ego battles, no speeches. Just absence. And absence hurts more than any chase ever did. But like I said before, the age of chasing is over. It's either mutual interest or it's nothing. This isn't weakness, gentlemen. This is evolution. And if you want to continue to evolve in today's dating landscape, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I've said this for years, but men who can regularly bag 8s, 9s, and 10s often choose 6s and 7s when looking for a relationship. Myself included. I was running through hot hoes in Vegas for years, but when it came time to settle down, I chose a 6. That woman is now my wife. Only men who are or have been successful with women will understand this, but most women never will. This isn't cope, this isn't insecurity, this is experience. Men with real options optimize for peace, not validation. You see, gentlemen, 8s, 9s, and 10s, they come with a lot of baggage. They get attention from men everywhere they go. Their egos are reinforced daily. They constantly test your boundaries. It just never ends. But the reason these girls are like this is because beauty gives power, and power changes behavior. A man who's dated enough knows that attraction is cheap, but he also knows stability is not. Neither is calm, and neither is cooperation. 6 and 7s, on the other hand, bring a lot less entitlement, a lot less chaos, and a lot less competition for dominance, while also providing more femininity, more gratitude, and more peace. Men of value do not chase beauty. They can get that anytime. Instead, what they chase is alignment. Looks do get her in the door. That gets his attention, but it is her character that determines longevity. Modern women assume that men always want the hottest option, but that's how women women think. Men with abundance, they think differently. They choose what preserves their frame. Because I'm here to tell you, an average-looking woman who's cooperative beats a stunning woman who's combative any day. I speak from personal experience, having paid this price many times over. And that's why this truth sounds so offensive to those who don't qualify to see it. If you've never had options, you won't understand choosing restraint. Men with options don't marry fantasy, they marry functionality. Why? Because they know that while beauty fades, peace compounds. Only men who've had regular access understand why men walk away from attractive women consistently. This isn't theory, this is pattern recognition. And women will never understand this because they've never lived on that side of choice. Subscribe to the channel for daily dating wisdom like this. I'm going to tell you something about women that you probably already know, but you don't realize that you know it yet. Women don't fall in love with men. They fall in love with the men who can guide them. If that doesn't make sense to you, think of it this way. Women fall in love with their college professors and not their classmates. Why? Because they're drawn to authority, not equality. They want guidance, not the partnership they're always squawking about on TikTok. Because the man who leads her mind automatically leads her emotions. This isn't romance, guys. This is nature. You see, gentlemen, a college professor has what most young men do not, which is authority, composure, age, direction, patience, and power. And women instinctively respond to that combination. Why? Because guidance feels like protection to the feminine, and protection feels like love. A man who teaches her becomes a man she can trust. A man she can trust becomes a man she respects. And a man she respects becomes a man she can fall for instantly. Respect escalates to admiration. Admiration escalates to attachment. And attachment escalates to what feels like love to her. It is the most predictable sequence in female psychology. But here's the part that most men refuse to accept. A woman is not turned on by potential. She's turned on by a man who has already walked the path and can show her the way. This is why the equation of age plus teacher plus authority equals turned on. And this combination hits a lot harder than it looks. It triggers something of a paternal archetype in her psychology. Not in a creepy way, but in a biological evolutionary one. Women don't want a man who wants to learn together. They want a man who already knows. Because a mentor doesn't ask questions. He gives answers. He doesn't seek direction. He provides it. And these things make him emotionally magnetic. So the quick math here is that a woman bonds with the man who elevates her, not the man who entertains her. Modern men want to impress women. Wise men want to teach them. Because a woman's attention grows fastest in the presence of a man she can learn from. And my wife is the perfect example of this. When I met her, I wasn't this 6'4" ripped Adonis with a 12-inch ding-a-ling who drove a Lambo. She recognized very quickly that I could teach her how to handle money, how to navigate complicated situations with her former work colleagues, how to deal with extended family issues, and most of all, how to be a lady. And this is exactly why women remember the mentor long after she forgets the boyfriend. Women don't fall in love with age, gentlemen. They fall in love with leadership. They don't fall in love with maturity. They fall in love with mastery. And they don't just fall in love with confidence. They also fall in love with competence. All of these things are what makes a man unforgettable. You need to get your hands on one of my most potent ebooks, How to Train Your Woman. So if you want to go from being the kind of man that women leave and become the kind of man that women learn from, you need to get your hands on one of my most potent books, How to Train Your Woman. Yes, you heard that correctly. This book is called How to Train Your Woman, and you can get it at datingwisdom.net.